How's it going, guys? Welcome to TheBlueShifting, and welcome to a bit of a celebration. Now, technically, this is going up a little late, but, you know, schedules being what they are. The current time, like, when I am actively recording this, you can, I don't know, like, it's on my screen. I don't know if I'll share it with you, but it is December 4th. And that's something very special to me and to the channel. Because, as you can see here, if you go to my the About page on the YouTube channel, where I have this like a blurb about what I'm doing, I post my schedule, and I always forget to update it, but thankfully I've updated it since I started the recent series. But you'll see, when did I start the channel? Like, when did the channel, like, when was it birthed? Because this is not my, like, personal account. This is the account I started with the intention of making videos. And that was December 4th, 2015. Now, I didn't post my first video until January because that Christmas that year, I asked for some other things I needed in order to get started, like a basic microphone. It was like a blue snowball, and some of the equipment that I use to like edit and do stuff with videos. So it took a while for me to get it all set up, but here we are. It's been 6 years? Dang. Like, it doesn't feel like I've been making content for 6 years, but that's because it's just become such an intrinsic part of my life. It's almost like eating food for me. It's like, oh, it's time to make a video now. It's like, it's something that's become so natural to me. It's just been wonderful. And thank you so much for being here. This is going to be a bit more about the future of the channel, because there's some things that are going to be changing. And a lot of these changes are going to end up being a bit experimental, but it's something I'm actually quite excited about. So I'm going to jump into it, and we're going to see how this all plays out. Now, as you know, last year I launched Patreon. Now, why would I launch Patreon when I only have like 2,000 subscribers? I'm lucky to have that many, and but it might seem odd. Some people might see it as greedy or money grabbing, but here's the thing. I started Patreon because I believed in a dream that someday the channel could become big enough that it could become sustainable for me. I believe and I want to work towards that goal, and I don't want it to be something that you, as a viewer, like, don't understand is a goal. It's something I want to be like upfront about. Like, you may also notice that a lot of like the sound effects I use on the channel, the way I treat developers and games that I try to bring onto the channel, I do a lot of forethought about it. I do a lot of communication with developers. I make sure that all the sounds and the pictures I use are things that I can use legally. Like, I'm not like grabbing photos and pictures that I don't have licensing for. It limits my options. But it's also important because these are fundamentals, especially for larger channels. Smaller channels might get away with it for a while, but I've seen so many channels get like kind of reverse card back like when they do grow, and suddenly all their old videos have something in them that makes it hard to keep around. So I didn't want to fall into that trap. So I run the channel as if it has 1 million subscribers. I try and make decisions and think about things and think forward, because I can see the channel getting there someday. Is it a realistic dream? Maybe not, but it's not like, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't shoot for it. And I think it's important for me and for you, the viewer, to understand my position. I was blown away that anyone did want to support the Patreon, even for a little bit. And I've always said from the beginning that if you ever support it at all, I want to make sure your name's out there. I want to make sure you have access to like all the behind the scenes stuff, because I don't want the Patreon channel to be the focus. It's simply an avenue of supporting the channel directly in a way that kind of cuts out the middleman of YouTube and allows you to have like a little more say into like maybe like games I'm considering going through, playing immediately when I've got a few good choices, or getting to see a bit of the behind the scenes and like look into like some of the stuff that happens in life, maybe like the editing, and also just like some of the other hobbies I enjoy. I've done a lot of streams for the patrons that have been a lot about like other interests that I have as well, just kind of sharing that a little bit. You can see that in the public December patron cast, which again, I'm going to do a patron cast publicly this year for December. So again, kind of it's because of the this is when the channel was like created, and so December is kind of a nice time for me to reflect and look back. And December is going to be another reason to celebrate, because that's when we're going to see a change. I mentioned a while ago that I was attending university again. I was going to try and get a degree. That didn't go very well. I've had to kind of come to terms with it for a while. I've been actually, the best way to express it is I've been battling depression over it. it's certifiable, like it's real. It's very much kind of like foul weather in a sense. Like I was told by my counselor that a lot of the depression symptoms I display are reactionary. So it's not like I'm constantly battling like the dark depressive thoughts that a lot of people with chronic depression have to face on the daily. Instead, it's something that happens when life takes directions that are like unexpected, but specifically are down. It reinforces like negative thinking on my part. And a lifeline for this channel, and one of the reasons why I started it was a way for me to deal with a lot of these really self-destructive feelings. Nothing to the point of danger, I assure you, but like it's a way for me to express and to enjoy something I'm passionate about, and it helps me process these emotions. And again, when I was going through this rough time, I was able to experience that joy and that pleasure and that support that I get just by making the content, let alone actually having people watch it and comment on it. Like, it's such an invigorating way for me to have like I wouldn't say a lifeline because that makes it sound super dramatic, but more about like a de-stressor, a decompressor, a way for me to just step away from what I'm going through and be able to focus on the dramatic and impeccable and enjoyable characters and stories and worlds we get to explore. And so now that the dream of school has to, at the very least, be put back on the back burner again, and frankly, I'm terrified that I can't do university anymore. I don't know, maybe my brain chemistry has changed too much. Maybe I'm just not capable of pursuing the dreams I always wanted to follow. Maybe I just don't understand myself enough and I have to reevaluate. And that's going to take time, and it's something that I really can't put energy or money into until I have a more solid understanding and plan to move forward. So I'm going to take a break again, but it's been hard because stepping away from school was always like, it was part of my plan. It was part of my life. It was going to be a big part of like what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so now with uncertainty around it, it suddenly opened up this terrifying gulch of like, oh gosh, like I'm getting older. I don't know what I'm doing with myself anymore. I want to be useful. I want to be able to make things and like make a difference somehow. And now it feels like that's insurmountable. And it's probably true. But I've also kind of come to terms with the fact that there's a lot of value to be gained in life that doesn't necessarily have come from, scholarly accomplishments. It's something I always have valued and will always value. And I frankly, I'm not sure if I have the mentality to truly give up on scholarly things yet. And, I've got time, I've got means, I'm sure I can try again. But while I'm stepping away, it made me think, what am I going to be doing with the rest of my time now? I believe I'm going to get a part-time job. There's not like it's going to be difficult to find a part-time job. I can just pick up any old job, really. But I'm hoping to get one that can help me with my talents and interests. In fact, there's a decent amount of people who I find some of these jobs that actually involve skills that I've learned from doing YouTube on the side, editing and composition, audio working. Like, obviously the high tier stuff's well beyond my skill, but there are jobs that crop up occasionally of people who just need to be savvy about how to post videos on YouTube, how to do some basic photoshopping, how to do some basic video and audio editing. And frankly, I can probably do some of those. Right now, the challenge is actually the hours. It's tough to find a position in that regard that works with my schedule. So we'll see. I'm going to keep my eyes open for a little bit, but needless to say, I'm likely going to be starting to do some kind of job in the next couple months. There's not really a rush or a pressure, but I don't want to just be twiddling my thumbs. And that's partly what this video is all about, because even if I get a job, at this point, the job needs to be flexible because there are other commitments that I have going on here at home. So what else could I consider doing? Well, my wonderful significant other, my wife and partner, pointed me back towards the channel. She invited me to pursue it more aggressively. I think she wants to believe that I can be successful, and she supports me, and I'm eternally grateful for that. I also think she's a realist, and I think that she and I agree that it's not likely that this could ever become an actual income. But I think she knows it's good for me, and I think that she wants to just see me be successful. And so we're going to try a bit of an experiment. Whilst I'm going to keep a tougher schedule going and likely getting a part-time job, I'm also going to be putting a lot more energy into the channel itself. What does that mean? Well, I've gotten pretty decent at my editing, and I find that I'm more flexible with my time than I used to be. I obviously need to make sure I have time for other things. I can't just forego all of my other points in life. I have to still live. But I think it's time we step it up a bit. I'm formally declaring my intention to go to 5 videos a week. Now, for the catch. Because as you might have noticed with some of the dabbles and experiments I've been doing in the past 2 years, I don't know if I want it to just be visual novels. I frankly will never stop doing visual novels because they're the best, absolutely the best. And I know this might be a little disheartening, so I'd like to know what your thoughts are about this, but hear me out before you blast me in the comments section. There are lots of other great ways to enjoy stories, and I want to explore some of them myself. Not necessarily because I'm chasing algorithms, not necessarily because I think it'll make the channel more successful. If anything, I think what makes the channel successful is the fact that I'm passionate about what I cover here. And whilst visual novels are some of the best media I have ever come across, and I want nothing more than that be a central focus of the channel from here to the end of time, I also think there are other games that are worth exploring. So, at least for the moment, Tuesdays and Thursdays are now going to be days when you should expect videos. Now, as I get this engine going and I figure out how this works with my schedule, there's likely to be hiccups. So forgive me, because it will not be as consistent on Tuesdays and Thursdays as you're used to on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I've got that down to a science at this point. I think what we need to do now is just experiment a little bit more. So I'm going to be pursuing a couple different types of content ideas, and we're going to see how they go. Obviously, if it doesn't work out, I always have Old Faithful's visual novels to go back to, but I think we have a lot of other things we can explore together, and I want to see how that plays out. So starting this week, we will have more content. I already have one video that has been primed, prepped, and ready. I did all the prep work for it, the editing for it. It is ready to go. I just need to make a thumbnail and it will be going live. So in fact, I'm going to make it a premiere, just like this video was. You probably saw it pop up in your feed a little early, and it'll be going live. And I'll do my best to when they premiere, if I make a video premiere, I'll try my best to be in the comment section live with the video, so I can actually interact with people who are showing up to the video early, at the time, just say hi or whatever. But I don't expect that. When I go to premieres, I don't usually do anything besides watch the video. So that's just to make it so if I make it a premiere, no, I'm making a special effort, or I want to draw your attention to something. Premiering this Tuesday will be the first episode of the Brilliant Diamond Pokemon Nuzlocke. I love the concept of Nuzlockes. I grew up playing Pokemon, but I really didn't play much of it. There's a large gap of games I never played, including Diamond and Pearl. Never even got a chance. Never had the money or the resources to get I think it was the 3DS it was on, or it was at least the DS. I don't know. That genre of handhelds was just never something I could invest in. So I don't know anything about it except for vague understandings of the various Pokemon and just a general knowledge of the Pokemon. So doing a Nuzlocke, which is a special run where if your Pokemon faint, they die, and if you lose all your Pokemon, you have to start over. It's an interesting challenge because I'm also going to be trying to do this without knowing intrinsically some of the challenges that are coming into the game, without understanding the story of the game, and also without understanding at a glance the types of Pokemon or moves that I can expect. So it's going to be an extra special Nuzlocke challenge where it's going to force me to kind of think on my feet and try and be tactical and very forward thinking, and I'm likely gonna die. I don't know how it's gonna go, but I think it's been a really good start so far, and the way I've edited it cuts out a lot of the fluff, because I think Pokemon in general, we all kind of know what it is, so I cut it down to, I think, the highlights, and especially the most interesting dynamic moments of what it will be, making a video that took a long time to record and a lot more time to edit, but much shorter, compact kind of delivery, and I think you'll enjoy it. So I want to know what your thoughts are, especially because there's some editing tweaks I do, and so I try some different things that I've never done before, and I'd love to get your input on it. Even if you're not a super big fan of a Nuzlocke and run in general, it's something that I've always wanted to do as like a challenge and as a love of the game, and it like makes a cool story because instead of it just being like catch 'em all Pokemon game, it's a journey about like the few Pokemon that you are allowed to catch and the nurture of them and like how like they journey with you as the player. It adds a lot of dynamic emotions that you normally don't get, which is something fun to explore. It's definitely a little off key from even content I would want to do after this, because again, I usually get drawn to story-based games, but there's games like where you craft your own story, like Crusader Kings and Bannerlord, and like these games where like you can just passively play them, but you get such a better experience if you like look at them as a narrative that you get to build and create, where the sandbox elements are more about like telling a story about your character and less about just like mining blocks. The next thing we're going to do is it's about time we get back to Persona 5, and that's what's going to be happening on Thursdays. I did like the idea of live streams, but I started having some major technical problems with the live streams, being mostly that the audio would be clippy and the video that I would capture, because I would often record both like I would record and I would stream. Unfortunately, for some reason, maybe the gear's gone out of style, maybe my new memory card just doesn't like to vibe that much with that, but regardless, the result ended up being subpar in both categories. And I think, frankly, subpar audio is one of the gravest sins you can ever have on a channel, and it makes it painful to watch, and I just don't want to deal with that. And now that I've got the time, I will plan on just editing the videos down. So I will record these videos, I will then edit them down, and I will upload them. Again, because we're focusing on story for that one, like I'll cut out some of the fluff, but they'll expect the Persona videos to be a lot longer, and to be a lot, because there's a lot of side stories that I explore, and a lot of them I'm not going to be cutting out because they are important to the building of a greater narrative. So the Persona series will continue in another morph form. I've been beating that to death. I feel so bad, but like we're gonna play through it and we're gonna see through the end. The Nuzlocke should be a lot faster in that regard because the story elements are so minimalistic. It's mostly going to be about like the journey of the Pokemon and us, so it's going to be a bit of a different experience, and that's kind of why I wanted to start with it, because it's a different challenge for me and it's a way for us to really explore what we can do on the channel. Anyway, I've ranted long enough. Those are my big two announcements. We are now going to be having 5 specific series going at a time, Monday through Friday. Now, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Most importantly, I'd love to know why you're here, because it helps me so much to know that what I'm doing right. And in a time where I've mentally been kind of taking a self-beating, where I'm very, very harsh on myself, probably the best Christmas gift you could give me is constructive feedback. Like, I know when people are trolling, and I know when people are just being mean. Thankfully, that really hasn't happened on this community yet, and I think it's because I just have one of the best communities. Like, every creator says that, but I genuinely think that's true. I think we've had one actual argument on Discord, and that argument I was able to cool down eventually. That's awesome. So the fact that I have so much faith in each and every one of you in that regard, and you know, I don't expect you to be perfect. I just hope together we can help make content greater. Now, if you, one of the constructive criticisms I'd love to hear from you is if you think that we should just be strict visual novels. Another model that I was toying around with this was this idea of where we would have just the 3 series, but we'd post 5 videos a week. So instead of getting Monday, Wednesday, Friday, always being like Monday, Love's always on Monday, and such on Wednesday, such and such on Friday, we said have like a Love, and then we would do a House of Fata Morgana, and then we do a Mamiya, and like so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday we do a Love, Friday we do House of Fata Morgana, and then the next Monday would be Mamiya. Like, we could just rotate through that. That would help us get through stories faster. That is also an appealing idea that we could do. It just would allow us to kind of pick up the pace, but I kind of almost like the slower pace that we get. Yeah, it takes a lot longer, but it makes it like, it's like watching an anime series, but it's drawn out over a long period of time, and a season is like, could be up to 50 episodes long. I don't personally mind that. I think it's a nice way to kind of keep things fresh and interesting and not always being bogged down by and overwhelming. Like, I get overwhelmed when I follow creators that post every day, especially if it's like the same thing every day. And the channel, so like, I draw a lot of inspiration of like a channel from one of like the channel that I think is run the best, that's also comparable to this type of like, not the type of content, but like the long form content that's not super like, I don't know, comedy focused, but more just like experience focused, which is Many a True Nerd. I mentioned him a lot before, but I keep learning things from him. And one of the things that's great about his series and his channel is that most of the time he does a single kind of video a week. Now, some series he does do double a week, and that's the thing, we can experiment with that. Perhaps doing 2 series like on Tuesdays and Thursdays that are different, maybe that's a wrong idea. Maybe someday we'll jump into like for a Persona series, like what if Tuesdays and Thursdays were just Persona? Like something like that. Like there's a lot of different ideas we can go with this. So any thoughts you have, I want to consider them. I want to think about them. And as we go, especially, like this is going to be a trial run. It's going to be bumpy. I'm going to be making mistakes, and I'm going to be able to refine it as we go. So I need that feedback more than ever. It's not just me trying to fight the algorithm here, which is, I'm always trying to fight the algorithm, don't get me wrong. But specifically, this is a chance for me to kind of cultivate what we've got going and see if we can make it better, more appealing, more interesting, and more worthy of direct support. Like, I don't want to be plugging Patreon all the time. You might even notice that all I do is simply reference it, thank the people who are part of it, and mention what you can get if you join it. I'm never gonna grovel for patrons. It just isn't in me. Like, it's not something I feel like you should feel obligated to support. I'm a source of potential entertainment, not some like, I don't know, tax you. I don't want to be taxing you for this entertainment. I want it to be something that if you give, it's because you want to support me. So the best thing I can do is make content you want to see more of. So that's what I'm planning to do. Anyway, thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. I can never be succinct in these things, but I feel like I've said everything I need to say. Happy birthday to the TheBlueShifting channel. It's 6 years old now, which is really crazy to imagine, but here we are. I've changed a lot in that time. It's been quite a journey, and I'm still working on keeping myself healthy and as fit as possible. Just doing the best that I can, but thank you for all your kind words in that regard. Like, I am doing a lot better, and I'm continuing to do well. I'm just really lucky to be able to even have this as a hobby and to be able to have such a fantastic community. I really don't feel like I deserve you, but you keep saying again and again that I do with the actions and the comments and the likes, and so thank you for that. It helps me in my darkest moments, and it gives me something to look forward to every day, which is something not everyone has, so I'm very grateful for it. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great rest of your week. Hope you're having a fantastic start to December. If you celebrate Christmas, whether religiously or not, I hope you have a great Christmas season. And if you don't, I hope you just have a great December. Whatever floats your boat, whatever you're going through, hopefully your burdens will be lighter and that we'll be able to support each other, especially when things seem so chaotic at times. Like, I hope that this is a place you can come and feel like you can enjoy yourself and to feel as unshackled as making this content makes me feel. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next video watching me up, see me next. I'll see you there.